beautiful friends. It's Colleen from Tin Can Tarot doing a walkthrough of the John Bauer Tarot, which came from Amazon today. Yes, this is a mass-produced deck that you can get on Amazon from Lo Scarabeo, and it's under $20. I snapped it up. It's been a while since I wanted a deck under $20. And I'm doing a walkthrough. I did a walkthrough, and now I'm re-recording the intro. So I can tell you this is a deck well worth your time and picking up if you get a chance. It is delightful. It is surprising. And it doesn't necessarily correlate exactly to my interpretations of each card, but I love it. I am in love with it. So let's begin. This is a tuck box that it comes in that already came damaged. So we've got to put the tuck box aside, and we're going to look for a bag that this deck will go into, which is the first thing we have to do. And this is why I have an Etsy shop with handmade bags, because the tuck boxes just won't do. I could pick an envelope bag. I could pick a 3-card spread wrap bag. I could pick a pouch or a drawstring. And I think I'm going to go with a pouch today because that is the color of the deck. Now I may pick another material eventually. I'm looking at these. It's probably going to be between one of these to make bags particularly for this deck. I think maybe it will be this one. I think that would be good. This is the backing. I think that's pretty good because you've got sort of the yellow. It's kind of a reverse of this. I think that would be really pretty. And it could be an interior of this kind of a creamy gold. These are the only ones I have. It's either this or this. I also like this one. This one actually might be better because it's more of a palette for this to fit in, and the reds do go together nicely. Let me know which one you think. It's between these two. I call this one a paisley, and I would call this one a dotted velvet. Let me know which one you think, and then we'll make bags. And then let me know what style you think for this. I think I'm leaning, well, I don't know. I was going to lean with just an envelope because it's so simple. And there is nothing, no guidebook that comes with this other than a tuck box, so it fits into an envelope well. But it also fits into a pouch nicely, or I can put the guidebook in here and then the deck in here. But I feel like this is overkill for this deck for some reason. I feel like a pouch. I feel like an envelope. It's just fine. And I'll call it the John Bauer bag. Or the Bauer bag, because maybe John Bauer is copyrighted. Then, what do we do after that? Then we go through and we see that there is a guidebook. We have our typical Tarosophy card and our title card. And we put those away in the tuck box. And we have our little white bag book. And it's classic Lo Scarabeo. It's got different languages. So you only get half of it. But the descriptions are a paragraph long. They do give you a whole paragraph. And it's enough. And as we go through the walkthrough, you will see it tells you enough about what's in the painting and what meaning they ascribe to it. And I'm telling you, sometimes it's a surprise. These are the backs which you've seen because I've done this so unceremoniously out of order. A very pretty illustration with one of his classic characters. And this is the layout of the card, which doesn't go with the back at all. I feel like these two are a little jarring. So while I love the back and I love the cards, I would not pick them together. I would do something that was this color. That's how obvious I am. But here we go. Here we go with the Fool. I'm going to switch over now to my other video where I do a full walkthrough, and I just pray that they stay in focus enough for you to be able to tolerate it. Okay. So I have arranged the cards so that the camera won't flicker too much trying to focus, and I will try to stay really still behind it. And let's take a look at these cards. First, we'll notice that there are numbers but no keywords. And these are adaptive paintings, so they're not going to necessarily know what they are unless you learn them. So you might need to write some keywords on some of these cards. But after going through this deck once, I find that the associations that I get from reading what the author talks about each card helps me to identify the card greatly because it's pretty simple once you get started. We've got side that have no borders, and then the repeated border on top and on the bottom. We could have done with just one, but I think they're beautiful. They're easy on the eyes. They don't really jar me in any way, shape, or form, and I am allowed to go right into the image. So I'd say, I don't know, you could edge the sides with a lovely kind of a moss pea green, but I don't know that I would trim it. Maybe you could trim the top off. Actually, if you trimmed the top straight off, it would bother the backs, but the fronts would be okay. So maybe it's better to leave it as is. So let's take a look at the cards themselves then. This one being the Fool. We can see right away that while we have the spirit and the energy of the card, we definitely don't have any of the symbolism that we usually ascribe to the Fool, with the colors, the mountains, the rivers, the walking off the peak, and he doesn't even have a dog. So in this deck, they basically say that the meaning is new beginnings and enjoying the moment and giving in to what you desire, which is slightly different. It's slightly simplistic, but is a very easy, accessible way to read The Fool. And it certainly is what we're seeing in the picture. And trying to ascribe any of the other things would be sort of gilding a lily that, or a ghost, because it's not there. But, you know, we all read the way we choose. This is a delightful Fool. It does show the beginning of something. It does show an innocence, a beginner's mind, not a care in the world, and resting, obviously, a wanderer of some kind, because he's alone in this vast field, and it had to have taken some time to get there. But he's definitely happy and not got a care in the world, which I think is pretty key, but not dead on, as you'll see. The Magician. Magician is an otherworldly creature. This is something not man, which I think is great because I think of the magician as pretty much pre-manifested anyway, and so to assume that it would be in a humanoid form is a little arrogant. It could be anything. And in this case, he almost looks like he comes from rock or some alien being for sure. He is facing to the right, which can be significant in cards, as well as the three birds that are perched on his shoulders are also facing to the right, which could also mean the future, or it could mean to the east, depending on how you're reading the cards. You get a 1, so I know it's the Magician, but you don't ever get to see Magician on it anywhere. He is kneeling, and he looks like he has a blade hilt in his big hand, but you don't see the traditional, you know, symbols. Because again, this is an adapted painting. It's not a card designed to be the Magician. So you'd have to interpret him as being a life force that has been through eons of time, probably knows what it takes to manifest into this world, and has a very, very solid foundation for being able to do that. You could go that way. What does the book say? It says self-control, being guided by a higher hand. So this would be knowing the moment to strike. So this card, he's pretty much He's stalking, which I don't really attribute that to the magician. So I would adapt that one. Here is our high priestess. I think she is stunning. She is a very young initiate, probably still in training, yet scrying into the lake already. And you can tell that she is the glowing light force. All around her in the forest, she is the source of light. It is coming through her where others can see. And it is saying that visions reflecting on the current moment, communion with the divine, and shamanistic visions. So that is perfect for me. I like that one. Our empress is a slightly older maiden, if you will, and she is sitting with a bird in her hand, it looks like. And she has the long, flowy locks, which our empress does in Rider-Waite as well, which symbols divinity. And she has a wreath around her head instead of the crown of stars, which gives her a little bit of a dominion over nature, which I think fits. She sits with her feet in water upon a rock. She's not carrying all the orbs and signs of Venus and all that, but they do say that this is communion with nature, cultivate peace and harmony with your surroundings, and take care to enjoy the little moments of life. I would say it does definitely communes with nature. I would say the source of nature usually. So you could expound on this card with your own meanings of the Empress, I think. This is the Emperor. This one is a really very powerful, I think, emperor in some ways. But again, what I kind of like about this is that he's otherworldly. He's not a man who's being an emperor. I mean, we've got kings for that. This is something even above that. This is making order out of primal expression of creativity and flow. And he has got to be up for the task to put all of that into order. And he's got a big old throne from which to do it from, which right there is the symbol you need for the emperor. That's really all you need. Now, in this one, we have the little woman in front with the golden hair. She's very petite. She's obviously supposed to represent beauty, handing him her devotion. She is allowing her fecundity, her femininity, her creativity to be guided by his form and function. That's how I would read that one. What do they say about it? Because it looks a little different, and they are definitely different. He says the meaning is having courage to stand up and face your fears and asking for what you desire. So they're saying that the emperor is the woman. I think that's not maybe how I would do it. And if you reverse it and made this the emperor, you might get, I would be able to read it the way I would read it doing that. Okay, so where we need a Hierophant. Now look at this guy. The Hierophant is actually the stone man on the left that looks like one of the dwarves in Snow White. But our Hierophant is I guess he's rock wisdom, really. It's saying receiving knowledge from your surroundings, understanding and learning from other sources. And that's really appropriate because the Hierophant is, in some translations, a translator or a divine interceptor that then takes the knowledge that is deemed too tough for the average man to take, requires a discipline and a piety and a few things that not everybody wants to do. And he takes it on so that he can then pass the messages on to the public, to the masses, to his sheep on guidance for living right and thus living happy, supposedly. But I digress. In this case, we're doing stone wisdom. We're getting rock wisdom, I think, which is good wisdom, right? Wisdom from other sources. Yoo-hoo, we've got lovers. I think they work well together. You can make out anything you want with these lovers. It works. But again, you have to know that lovers is a 6 because it's never going to say on here unless you write it somewhere. The 7 is the Chariot, which I find a unique chariot because it's not a fast-moving horse sphinx, dragon-drawn carriage. It's more like a turtle. It's got a very big burden. I mean, look at all those bags. This, I think, all refers to cargo that they've got strapped on this little guy's back, as if he didn't have enough weight with all his fur already. And this right here is his horn. I think I might be throwing the focus in and out. But this is the chariot that is ready to carry everything where you need to go. It says, allowing something else to guide you. Moving forward, trust the path, even when you cannot see it. So the chariot is obviously the animal as opposed to the guy riding in the animal. Interesting version. It definitely, you can work with it, but it has a slightly different color, for lack of a different word, a different description with some of the same meaning. Strength. Now, this is really classic. This time you have a young, beautiful, innocent little girl or princess with a Winnie the Pooh-like bear because of that eye. He's like, what? This is the last thing I expected to feel soft and squishy with a human. And they're just being very vulnerable with each other. There is no reason to have the beast attacking or for her to be shooting him with a gun because they're both open and vulnerable, and that's true strength. So that card totally works for me. This is the Hermit, which I find really fascinating. This is I would say it's a fractal head. It looks like it's repeated 3 times with one face. And so it's like splitting consciousness to get inside, to get deeper, to find out what it's made of, and then shining a light on that. Now, that's not at all what the guidebook says, but that's what I would say about the Hermit, is he's splitting consciousness to go in and to get the secret, and to expand his mind and see things differently before he puts it all back together again, and shine some light in there that he can bring back for us all. Now, the guidebook says that is trust in your own knowledge, being prepared for the next step, and be ready to lead the charge. So I would not go with that meaning myself, but that's the good news, is I don't have to. It works for me on my meaning. This wheel card is, it's one of the best wheel cards because it actually makes me stop and go, what? This makes me feel something. This card I don't like all that much usually, but this one with the little creatures that are making this circle around him, they're obviously moving, and then it moves not only around him, and then it goes off into the distance. It is the force. It is the chi that is moving around this cloaked figure that is either giving a sermon or he's having a meditation on movement, but he is somehow guiding the direction of this field force that everybody's kind of just so bunched together closely, they don't really see what's happening, and they don't see the cycle. They don't see the bigger picture. Where he sees the bigger picture, and everybody's going along the path the way they're supposed to go, and some of the paths are going to be up and some of them are going to be down, and it's your fate that you don't always see. But you have to just be the best person you can, doing the best work you can amongst others and your people and your tribe. And I don't know if that's what it means, but that's what I would say about that. The wheel is understand the position you are in, destiny, karma, and adaptation to cycles. So I like this card a lot. This one made me think and go deep into the wheel. So adaptation to cycles, karma, destiny. Good one. Good, intriguing card. All right. So this is interesting. This is the Justice card. And I don't really know which one is Justice. Is it the young man or is it the crone at the top? Is she the one that delivers justice and he's asking for it because she's now the wise lawgiver? Because she's the crone? Let's see what it says. Bring your world into balance. Be fair and kind to others. It is time to make a choice. Well, we're going to work on that one for a while because I don't think it's obvious. I think I would have to make my own associations with that. What one would you do? This is justice. Hanged woman is almost like a Rapunzel in the tree, letting her hair down. She's sort of stuck there until somebody comes along and saves her. And maybe that person that comes along and saves her is her, because it would kind of have to be in my version. But it says looking up brings connections you may not have expected. So in this version, it's using the boy as the hangman to say change your perception to get understanding, awareness, and even enlightenment. A situation needs change of pace, taking a sacred break. I like this card a lot. This is what I would call in this deck transition, probably more than death. We're moving into the unknown. We are changing form. It looks like they both have urns of some sort. They are a reflection of one another. I think this card is beautiful. It's like a ritual sacredness to death. Reverence for experience. Yes, I like that. Reverence for experience, having lived a life or having had the cycle, the experience, the lesson. The unknown is closer than you think. Transformation from one side to the other. This is stunning. I like this card a lot. This might be my favorite death card ever because it evokes feeling in me. This is not my favorite temperance card. It's charming. I mean, look at this guy is a water creature. This isn't somebody pouring liquid. He is a water creature. Now, is he, what are they saying about him? He is, oh, we've got a snail at the feet. There's a sense of purpose, balance to the movement. Return to the water from which you came. Slow and deliberate movement. Find your footing. That is a different form of temperance that I would necessarily come up with. So that one I'm going to leave to you to sort out, and I will figure that out for me. There's a temperance in here, but this is not a working session, is it? This is the devil, and this is a devil trying to abscond with all this fruit. Sorry, that's probably making my camera wacky. And he can't carry it all. He drops it. He's not going to be able to take it with him. That's the folly of the devil, is that we think we're going to get away with something when we try to indulge, or we try to sneak around, we try to take more than our fair share, or we are somewhat gluttonous or somewhat greedy or somewhat lascivious, and it doesn't quite work. So, ooh, I think I just sold a bag on Etsy. Did you guys all just watch this and buy something? No, that's pretty funny. Oh yeah, a Lenormand bag. Okay, so that's the devil. Here we have the tower, which is not that scary a card. So that's a good thing to notice, that if we want a deck that isn't going to be quite as scary on some of the harder cards, this would be it, wouldn't it? I would say now, for my prompts, I could call this a gentle deck, because I'm not even sure which one was gentle, but now I know this one is, because this this tower is basically saying conflict is brewing. Stand up for what you want. Remove obstacles in your way. Well, if that isn't a soft pedaling of the tower, which for me is your world is about to be rocked at the core, let everything fall, build it again. But this time with honesty, vulnerability, and truth. Don't try to get away with something that's not yours. It won't work. But this tower is basically trying to make amends for something that's about to go wrong, trying to repair, trying to sort out the situation ahead of time, because he sees that trouble has just hit and he's addressing the trouble. It's kind of like coming to the rescue, the hero. Oh, so sorry. So sorry. Interesting tower. Gorgeous. Oh my God. This is my second favorite card to the deck. Maybe it's just as my favorite, but the death card and this one so far are my favorites. This is the star, and you have a hunched over knight in a red cape, which means he's His life force is, his ebb and flowing. He's like using it all up. He's riding through the stars on his gallant steed, and he is following his dream no matter what, following his purpose. He's steady on his path. He is going to get there. I like it. It's beautiful. This is a knight on a quest. Yeah. What's your quest? What's your mission? Oh, I like this one too. Okay, now I have 3 favorite cards. Although I did like the High Priestess. That was so gorgeous too. Okay, so the moon. Nothing is as it seems. Look past the illusion. Allow others to help guide you along the way. Once again, a very simplistic, soft, gentle interpretation of the moon. None of the deceit, illusion, something's hiding, suspicion in this one. It's just nothing's what it might seem. Um, try to look past it. And again, you could use your own interpretation for this because it's really just gorgeous that way. Now, this is the sun. I get the sun. I see the sun. That's pretty clear. But I'm getting still a man in burden and toil rather than awareness, enlightenment, joy. Yes, passing through the storm and getting towards your reward and your understanding of what the whole journey was for. He still looks like it's somebody else that's getting all that, and he's still doing the work. So we have to work on that one a little bit. But at least there's no babies. And you can say that you're on the right path. Is that what it says? Be optimistic. You're moving forward with your plans. Good omens be with you. Now, judgment. Oh, judgment. This is a heed to the call of the spirits. You've got 2 people. They are both naked. I don't know that they're rising from the grave. It looks to me like they're kneeling and praying and they've got their sheep. So we've got naked shepherds. Looking at the angels and heeding the call, bear witness to your surroundings and embrace the change. So it's like they're having a visitation, and they're waiting to get their mission for that works. Totally works. You've been given a divine mission, and they're listening intently. And here is our world card. This is a fancy girl, one of the fanciest people I've seen so far. Uh, this is like the high priestess grown up, right? She's now fully clothed, but she's back in the wood looking into the river, into the water again. So we've come full circle. Now we know what we're doing. We know how to read the signs. We know how to go with the flow. We are in our power. It says, standing complete among the world, reflecting on where you have been, feeling complete, giving back to your community. Definitely very nice. Okay, I love that. Major Arcana is good. We have some interpretations that I don't agree with, but I think the cards are charming enough that we can sort of adapt a little bit. There might be a couple that are confusing, but I don't remember them as much as I remember the ones I love. So I think that's a good sign. Where are we? We're doing cups now, and this is an Ace of Cups. And we have we have a bucket that's probably the chalice, the bowl of the chalice that's being poured onto the earth. We've got feeling refreshed and overflowing of emotions. Let the world receive your gifts. So yeah, they are watering the world. They are creating the rivers. That's pretty cool. Oh, that's obvious. That's a good one. Don't need to talk about that. That one works. And this is the 3 of Cups. So this is our celebrating family, our sisters. We don't have in this the 3 generations that you can interpret in our Rider-Waite, or in a lot of when you have 3 women. You can have in the Rider-Waite, I feel like we have the maiden, the maid, and the crone. So it's not only celebrating life, but also the rite of passage. It can mean a lot, and I don't get that as much, although we could still have a rite of passage, but it's not just maiden, crone. It is all of us together as a race, taking a journey, right? Being connected, being part of something. These guys are part of the same mission. They're like the Fellowship of the Ring. I like it. This is our Four of Cups. This is somebody who is not seeing the beauty around her, is she? She is looking at her feet. She's turned inward. Shifting emotional perspective, allowing yourself to be self-absorbed. Don't miss out on what's around you. Love it. Perfect. Five of Cups. This is allow messages to be received. Well, I can use that with the bouquet because that's like gifts from Lenormand. Do not fear what is coming. All is not lost. So this is a very optimistic Five of Cups. Again, a very gentle one. It looks like he is kneeling towards her and she's leaning down to get the news. Like this is some serious news. But I don't get necessarily grief, loss, any of that. Very gentle. And when I say bouquet, I would think good news. So I'm going to have to work on that one because that's going to confuse me when I see it. It's not going to read straight for me. This is a 6. They are having a good time together, recalling good, fond memories. So we can ascribe to this that these guys are old friends that have known each other maybe since childhood and seen each other, brings back some of those memories, and it makes them very happy. I love this 7 of Cups because it just doesn't make it illusion. It makes it like you've let these things get out of control and they're coming after you. Take caution with what you're doing, with what you're thinking. So often the illusion and the daydream is just an indulgence that actually has power that we're unleashing that we haven't realized that we've actually started a whole thing in process by letting our mind drift off into bad neighborhoods. And in this case, they actually have come back to haunt him. I quite like that. I like that card a lot. See how delightful this deck is? Okay. Wow, the 8 of Cups. This is a man going his own way. But in this case, the crowd has got their back to him. And he is naked. A crowd kneels before him, but they're not facing him. They're facing away from him. A woman turns her body perpendicular, meaning turning away from the mainstream, time to journey beyond what is known and change of heart. Yes, definitely the meaning, interesting picture of it means it's time for him to turn away and go find the nudist colony where he belongs and he can find his people and because he's now no longer a part of this group. Find your own meaning. This is peculiar. We've got kind of like an ogre or a troll and a princess or a maid, a lady, definitely a lady. And it says, the giant looks at this person as if they are curious about who they are and what they want, meaning take matters into your own hands, making a request, luck is in your favor. So I guess they're making a request of each other. So wishes come true. Sometimes the 9 of Cups is wishes granted. So maybe they're making a wish and we're granting each other this wish. That's how we're going to have to go with that one for now. And our 10 of Cups, which is happiness, contentment, fulfillment, we have a crowned knight who holds a white-haired maiden on top of his horse. So he's got his girl, and she is quite fairy-like. And he looks around him, and there's a beautiful bird, and everything is of value. Everything's feeling valued, having priority, feeling like you have everything you need at this moment. That's great. Our court cards are curiouser and curiouser. What is that? So this is a page. A man and a woman bow at the feet of 2 giants. I see one giant, and this is the head of the other giant. And there they are bowing. The giant looks out over them, searching for his destination, meaning seek out what you desire. Do not let distractions bog you down. So they're not letting these pesky little humans distract them with what they need. They've got a place to go, things to do, places to go, which to me isn't necessarily a page of cups. So that's a little bit stretched for me. Now we've got the knight, and he's on a horse, so we can pretend like he's any knight that we've known. He's just in a different place. And this one is seeking out, I'm sorry, this one is awaken your passionate side, follow your emotions, and enjoy what's around you. So he is following his heart. He's on a quest, and he's watching the sky and the earth and the birds fly, and he's just welled up with the experience of the earth and life and nature and being part of things. This is interesting. This is the queen who's got this sort of blue creature which holds the crown of white flowers out to the woman, and she bows down to receive it. Allow your intuition to guide you. Be aware of your feelings. Connect to your deeper self. So I guess this guy with the blurred head is intuitions and guidance, and she's allowing him to crown her with, his presence, his knowledge. He's granting her his knowledge. That's kind of cool. As long as you make that's your psyche, your intuition. Manifested. Come to life. Oh, and this king is charming and delightful. And I do like what this one is about. This is an old king wanders the woodland scene with a child. He looks down on the child, aware of her presence, meaning be in service to others, teach through experience, awaken others' gift. I love that for the King of Cups. That is beautiful. Gotta keep moving here. I know I'm slow. This is our Ace of Pentacles, which is an interesting ace because we've got this little boy leading a yak by his mane of some sort, and he's got a huge burden. I think we saw him earlier in the chariot, right? This looks like the chariot. He pulls the beast along the path. He holds the beast hairs to guide him through the snowstorm, and the creature has a lot on his back, meaning you are supported. Slow and steady is the way, heading to new opportunities. So I would say, this is an opportunity for you to start something new, go towards your dream. What is it you need to plan? Make sure you've got everything in order, and everything is, planned and packed. So that sort of represents the precision and the sturdiness and the planning and the step-by-step process of a pentacle. I can say that. Now we've got two young maidens before, no, it's one young maiden before two cloaked, and she's holding out something to them, and this is the Two of Pentacles. So this looks like a very calm pentacle for two, for what we're used to seeing a juggler. And they say, take time to make a choice, expansion, and balancing responsibilities. Well, I like what they say about it. I don't necessarily get that from the picture, so I'm going to have to work on that a little bit. Make choices, balance, take on responsibilities. I guess she's giving them a key, which is trusting them to take a responsibility on, to give them a new purpose. I guess we'll have to push that one. That one's going to be crazy. This is beautiful. This looks like a Madonna standing there on the left, and people coming to kiss her feet, which I don't know why that's the Three of Pentacles, though. So let's see what they say. Make good decisions. Collaboration is key. Standing on solid foundation. I guess the decision to kiss her feet is good. And the other people there are going to kiss her feet as well, and that's going to give them a solid foundation. Work on that one. I like this Four of Pentacles. This is definitely somebody who's keeping his cash in his box. He's counting it. He's making sure he has enough. He's not necessarily sitting on it and hoarding it, although it could be hoarding if that's your meaning. Could also be conserving, making sure you have enough. Make wise choices with your money. Don't just go spending right now. You might need it, because the Five of Pentacles is coming, and this is beautiful. This is a princess locked outside of her castle for one reason or another, but she is out in the cold, and suffering a little bit. I think that works perfectly and is a beautiful Five of Pentacles. Now we have our Six of Pentacles. This looks like Lady Godiva and the nun. And the nun is graciously offering charity, which nuns do, of clothes to this poor naked woman, even though I don't think she needs it. Everybody else seems to. And her job is just to receive. And that's the give and take of life that happens. And that's what the Five of Pentacles wants you to do. And so now you start to see the give and take. And we get to the Seven, where we have this little tiny figure who is in these big, big, tall woods. And let's see what it says about that, because tall trees stand straight. Below their trunks stands a tiny woman wearing a crown. Crowns are significant in this. She seems to be making a decision. Attend to your harvest. Go into the wild woods, seeking new opportunities. That's a little different than, faith in the work you're doing and seeing it through. But we can apply, I think, a lot of the Seven of Pentacle meaning to this card. You can make that work. Here's our Eight. This is definitely a man who is busy toiling away at his work. I call it the master, or mastering the craft, being in the zone, focus on work, and that is what's happening in that deck. Ooh, this is the lady with the bird, so it works. This is a family. It's a troll family. It's a fascinating family. But you get family legacy. You get the beginning and the end. Cycle of life. That is great. Beautiful. Now this one is curious because it doesn't look like a page to me. But it is a page. He's cloaked and hunched, focused on the task at hand, meaning harnessing your talents and be observant. The journey has just begun. That works. I just think the picture is odd because I think of pages as more of a youthful situation. Here's our knight. This is a queen. Our queen is our knight. That's kind of interesting. She wears a white gown with a red cloak. So if you're using your symbology, purity and passion. She turns away from this direction as if she's going in. Something has caught her attention, meaning take your time, pay close attention to your work, remain focused. So she's a little bit distracted, and they're saying, don't do that. Stay focused. Ooh, that's a queen? Oh, the queen's down at the bottom, glowing again. Aww. She glows brightly. Offer counsel to those who need it. Comfort, being protected by loved ones. That's sweet. And our king, wow, a little king at the bottom. A troll wanders over a path, his pack filled with the rewards he's won. Down below, a young boy looks up and sees the troll, meaning gaining rewards from hard work, trust that you're doing the right thing, understanding your goals. Well, I think the king is kind of hard work pays off in abundance. So maybe the troll is indeed the king that has got the abundance now to enjoy his life. Moving on to wands. Let's see if I can go a little bit faster. Many faces appear in the shadows. We have a glowing queen again, and we have a little hooligan that could scare him. And wands is recognize your power. Inspiration is at hand, a burst of energy, which I think is what she is. She sort of represents the ace of wands in this. This is our 2. This is looking forward to new directions. I think that's perfect, right? Set your plans in motion. Look beyond what you already have. Perfect. This is interesting. This is going on a quest as opposed to receiving what you've put out. Receive input from others around you. Enjoy the journey. So instead of sending the ships out and then getting it back in because you've begun, it's like it might be you actually going on the trip and getting them. But either way, the project, the dream, the business is going forward and building as we speak. Ooh, Four of Wands. Look at that. Now they're not. Usually it's a some kind of a foundation with four poles and a canopy or something. This one, they're not doing that. So what are we going to say about this one? Two riders sit on a horse as it races through the woods. Somehow one of the riders maintains their seat position near the horses behind. Yes, that's true. That's racing towards the destination. Homecoming, doing it your way. Interesting. Different. That's all I have to say. We'll work on that. We don't want to spend all day doing this. Um, Oh, so this is our five. So we've got Five of Wands. We've got, I think, wolves, I would say, competing for the same choice morsel. Things, look good for this poor soul. Rise above the chaos, release tensions, and refocus your energy to what is needed. So one brave wolf is attaching himself to the scarf. So he's kind of caught him. So rise above the chaos. I don't know how you do it in this picture, but it's sort of saying there's a lot of chaos going on around you. You might be getting caught up in it. See if you can rise above the competition and the conflicts that are being purposefully applied and inflicted right now. Rather than it just being competition to be better, this is don't let it stress you out. A little different. Here we have our Six of Wands. It looks like somebody is returning home in a parade. We can use that however you see fit. Our Seven of Wands. This is, wow. Well, if this guy was in defense, I don't think he's got a problem. He's winning. Small group of armed people stand near a cliff. They're ready to battle the tall ogre, which stands in front of them. The ogre seems confused at the actions of the group, meaning taking a stand, defending your ground, feeling defensive. So I guess rather than him feeling defensive aggressively, he's feeling defensive confusedly. He's cute. He's cute. This is the Eight of Wands. This is movement, targeting, reaching your goal. Very interesting interpretation of that. Instead of arrows, we've got a beautiful body. The Nine of Wands. This is beautifully standing your ground. Stick with it. Keep a vigilant watch. Finish what you started. Why is she doing what she's doing, though? The troll's long hair obscures her face. She wears brightly colored clothing. She holds a trinket out to the boy, and it says, trust in the process. Keep a vigilant watch. Finish what you started. So maybe she's trying to say, hey, come with me. I'll give you treats. And the cards are saying, don't do it. Don't do it. Hold your position. Keep your watch. Finish what you started. And this is beautiful. This is another glowing figure at rest. And I don't see the burdens in this one. This one meaning conserve energy. The journey is complete. Don't overcommit yourself. Ah, what a great interpretation. Because it kind of balances out your 10 of completion rather than burden, right? Don't overcommit is definitely consistent. And the journey's over. Yeah, love it. Here we have a Page of Wands. And this boy is open yourself to new experiences, making a call to action, setting things in motion. So he's making a call and he's going to have a herd of something in action coming at him pretty soon. He's making the call. He's making the call to action. I like it. This is the Knight. And the Knight of Wands, which I usually think of as a little bit of a cavalier. This is one dressed in blue, so he seems a little more serious with a little dark figure in the reins. Take off on an adventure, be bold and daring, keep moving towards your goal. Well, I think that meaning fits, but I don't see that he's being bold and daring. He's just kind of plodding along. He's more like a pentacle to me than a wand, but what can I say? All right, she's beautiful. And she is looking at flutterbys. I think she's saying, enjoy the moment, dare to be yourself, and share yourself with others. So the Queen of Wands gets to just enjoy herself and be herself. That's lovely. And the King of Wands he's looking at something. Something's got his eye. What is it? Stay true to your values, become a trailblazer, trust in your intuition. All right. Interesting. Swords. We've got just a couple more. This is a beautiful eagle representing the sword, representing air. That's lovely. Start of a new friendship. Ask for clarity. Express new ideas. I never had start of a new friendship with this, but they do seem like unlikely friends, which means to open your mind for a different perception of what you would expect. So I like that. Ask for clarity. Express new ideas. Nice. A two of swords. About to cut the head off of a snake. How does that answer his question? Being faced with the block, okay, so the snake is a block. Make a clear decision now, cut its head off, and sit still and clear your intent. Okay. A little different, but I kind of like it. It's instead of being blocked and sit still and figure it out, he's like, cut the head off of the block and sit still and see what it feels like now. Something like that. Oh, no. The woman and a dead swan. And this is heartbreaking. And now I can see why her heart bleeds in all the other decks. This is terrible. Feeling the loss of something important, letting go of the pain. I feel like this is more of an appropriate Five of Cups. But here it is in the Three of Swords now. And I think of it as a Five of Cups because they're talking about pain. And with the five, you want to talk about the having to learn through pain, not willing to learn until something finally breaks for you to get it, for you to get your lesson. And you carry that with you until you get it. I mean, it's like what does that say when it's harsh truth? There's a expression when, it hurts me more than it hurts you, but it's an important for you to go through, but it's a hard lesson. Tough love. That's what I was trying to get at. That is a tough love. That's what I think of as the Three of Swords. And that seems more Five of Cups. Okay. So now we're at Four of Swords. This works, even though he's got a ghost Christmas past with him. I guess he's trying to get his messages about in recuperation and recovery. He's trying to get his messages and his meanings from this ghost. Five of Swords. Why is he hiding? What does this say? Okay, a troll hides behind a rock. He stares at a boat off in the ocean, a dagger at his side, meaning have awareness of your surroundings. The opportunity is right for success. Plan accordingly. Very different from consequences of your actions. Be careful what you say. You may lose more than you actually win, even though you won. You may lose more than you won. And the Six of Swords, which is leaving, moving on to better pastures. In this case, it's keep moving forward. It's a rite of passage. Sorry, I'm not speaking well. Moving forward, it's a rite of passage. Leave the worst behind. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm shaking it to see if it'll focus. That was on purpose. I haven't looked up to see the screen in a while, so I apologize. I'm not sure this is a whole lot better than the one I did before. Sort of wishing it was, because these cards are really stunning and they really deserve to be seen clearly. And honestly, I don't know if it's worth it to put this up if you can't. There it goes, like boom. Beautiful, right? I love this 7. It's not my typical, unless he's riding away with 7 swords and stealing them. Um, he rushes forward on horseback. Act with integrity, move with purpose, pursue a correct path. So it's kind of, look at the house up on the cloud. Interesting. Yeah, he's going on the road to the cloud, to the house in the cloud. The 8 of Swords. Well, I don't know, unless the moose has got her, she's dreaming of a moose that's scaring her to non-movement. I don't know. A moose stands guard over a sleeping maiden. That sounds like a good thing. Feeling safe and protected, trust your other senses, security is closer than you think. Okay, completely opposite of my normal 8 of Swords. We're going to really have to talk about that one. That's that's a thing. Okay, here is a beautiful 9 of Swords, but you can tell that she's upset. She's not happy. She's got some stress going on here, so we can use that. Our 10 of Swords. This is almost like death looming over us, as opposed to us being dead in the water. It's presiding over the situation. It says, the end is here. A better transition, saying goodbye. Wow. There's a beauty in that finality, I have to say. Here is our page. Practice makes better. Use your mind. Be inquisitive. He's got a violin, and I guess he's asking his maestro, can you show me that one more time? Inquisitive. Here's our Knight of Swords. Build momentum. Have a plan in mind. Pay close attention. That should be a pentacle, because he's not even moving. This should be the Sword of Pentacles. I think he got that one mixed up. That's going to be tough. Ooh, our Queen. That could be. So she's looking at 3 swans that are flying by. Can you tell that? That's what that is up there. She's got 3 swans. Okay, we're letting this go. We're almost done. Bill, wisdom, lessons in life learned, clarity, and insight from this card. That is what the Queen is. And then finally, our last card is a beautiful card. King of Swords. King of Swords is looking down at another. He gains perspective and wisdom from understanding others, meaning rise up, speak with authority, understanding others can provide insights, use knowledge appropriately. So sweet. Okay, we're flickering back and forth. That is the walkthrough in all its glory. I would say that this is definitely a delightful deck. There are some cards you have to learn. It's not just a shuffle and play. Shuffle and go. I think that's a new term I'm making up. It's not just shuffle and go. You have to spend a little time with it because there are some different associations. But the deck is delightful on so many levels. And I think I found some favorite cards. I think these favorite cards of Death, Stars, and Moon are going to ring with me for a long time. I have new favorite cards, so that's pretty exciting to me. I'm not going to shuffle and I'm not going to pull a card. Well, maybe one. What do you want to tell everybody? All right. I feel like I've taken enough time. But I guess if you stuck with me, I'll know who my true friends are. No. I'm not that practiced in such long videos, so I am impressed. But this is an impressive deck. I have to say I was delighted doing a walkthrough of it. So I'm really glad I got it. I really recommend that when people just need a lift and something different, you should pick it up. Let's just take a card. Let's see what we get. Of course, we get the one that I think is the wrong one. This Knight of Pentacles. All the knights to me are far, far too passive. Our knights are much more, my knights are much more on a quest. But this says to us, our Knight of Wands, it says to you all out there, make sure I've got it the way they want it. A messenger dressed in blue sits on a spotted horse. It's a pinto. They call those pintos. They travel with a tiny woodland creature. Take off on an adventure. Be bold and daring. Keep moving towards your goal, everybody. And I think that's good advice for 2019. I'm going to take it. So thank you again for watching. This was John Bauer. I think it is a 2 thumbs up. 1 for illustration, 2 for, what were the 2 before? We have to make up a system. 2 thumbs up. 1, I like it. 1, I like it. I'm getting silly. I have to stop now. Take care, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.